18.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Stardew Valley where I will try to make a point which I'm not really sure I will be able to explain quite properly. So I'm warning you right from the start to not expect too much gameplay and rather me talking about how financially the plans in the game might affect your overall experience and how you will have to sort of try and plan around your harvests in order to get as much money as possible. You have been warned. This will be long. Hopefully, you will manage to survive at least 5 minutes. Thank you for your attention and maybe enjoy or just skip right ahead to a different episode. Thank you. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another morning in Stardew Valley. Did I just seriously say another morning? Well, it theoretically is in-game morning, so let's just run with it. Today will be a very special episode. Why do you think it will be special? Is it because we have super high luck? Maybe. Is it maybe because we are starting salmonberry season? Maybe. But why will this episode be special? I will be talking about the potential shortcomings, pluses and negatives of certain things which you can implement on your farm that will be making money for you. So I will be comparing certain things like, for example, coop with chickens, barn with cows, compared to the plants that you can grow on your farm and how these plans affect your overall gameplay and financial situation. Is this important topic to discuss? Well, it is, especially due to certain reasons. One of the issues which I have with the spring season mainly is the inconsistency in how you come across your harvests and how you come across therefore with money, or you come across the reward for taking care and maintaining these crops. Why do I want to talk about it? I might actually have to create a graph in the Excel or something just to show you the potential idea that I am having in my mind, which I will try to cover here on this episode. So the problem which I have with most of the crops in the spring season in general is that we are talking about crops which will produce for you the overall end product, which is, for example, parsnip, potato, or cauliflower, okay? I do know that we have also kale and all the other crops, but just bear with me. So the problem with these crops is that if you would think of an imaginary line, you have to start at a certain point, and the starting point will be you planting a certain crop. So what happens when you plant the crop? Obviously, if we do not consider the original 15 seeds of parsnips which we received as the in-game starting bonus, we should call it that, we have to spend the money, which is the original 500 gold that we all start off with. So if you think about a certain line and you plant the parsnips, it takes 4 days for the parsnips to fully mature. Therefore, by the time you get to the harvest, you are running at 0 value on your reward for taking care of the crops. So if we were to think about a usual XY graph, and we would just go with a simple line, when we plant the parsnip and we take it to a certain point, let's say the day 4, after you plant it and watered the parsnip, that is the first spike where you see your reward. So what happens at the 4th day? You pick up the parsnips and you put them into the collection box, right? So therefore, on the next day, you are collecting the reward. Potentially, you see Pierre selling the items the next day with spiked up price, but I mean, that's his deal. When it comes to the other crops in spring season, let's think potato or kale. The period on the XY graph is even longer because we are talking actually 6 days. So for 6 days, we are drawing a line till we finally reach the massive spike, which is the cash reward, which we can obtain by selling the kale or the potatoes. Later on, I'm gonna discuss things like the artisanal items, so don't worry. This is just like a basic idea that I'm trying to discuss here. Now, if we think about long-term investment, that's the cauliflower or rhubarb. If you are lucky enough to somehow by a miracle get to the oasis and purchase the rhubarb seeds from Sandy. However, I think you would have to be breaking the game in some sort of way or implement certain mods in order for you to have access to this. These crops take 12 to 13 days to fully mature. So, here's the thing. If we take parsnip, the line is basically just your horizontal line, and then on the 4th day you have a small spike. You think potato, you think kale, you have 6 days, then you have bigger spike, and then you have the cauliflower or rhubarb, where you have a massive period of time till you get your biggest spike, because cauliflower and rhubarb sells really well. And of course, I'm right now not including the price of preserved items like pickled cauliflower or something, because that is additional time you need to invest in order to turn the original profit into something more valuable. However, it also is something that you need to consider the talents of your character. If you do not go with the artisanal path, and in the 10th level you do not get the 40% bonus for the artisanal items, the overall rollout or the return on your additional time investment is not as big as it would be. If you would, for example, go with the animals, where you are leveling up the friendship, for example, so that might have some benefits, and I'm gonna talk about them later. But overall, the return of the added time will be missing. And why is the massive time which I'm trying to discuss an issue for me? Well, the issue is that if you consider the price for the produce which you are planting, what you need to account for is the selling price of the seed times the days which you require to wait And not only wait, you need to also water the crops in order to get your return on the initial investment. So, what is the major issue? Let's say you've just picked up a harvest of potatoes and kale. You are happy because on the next day you have some nice chunk of change in your pocket, let's say like 2,000 gold. And you decide to go and roll this investment into something like the cauliflower, which you totally can do, and I definitely advise you to do so. You will require cauliflower, especially if you want to participate in the luau. If you load into the soup a gold star cauliflower, you are guaranteed the best result. But of course you can put in different items. Even Mayor Lewis's shorts. Anyhow, what is the major issue which you will run into? You go to Pierre's store. You spend your money. Let's say I would go today to Pierre's store and purchase the cauliflower seeds, okay? So we have 2,152 gold. What would happen if I would divide this by 80, which is the selling price of the cauliflower? So 2152 divided by 80. So we should be able to afford almost 27 seeds. It comes up to 26.9. So what is the issue now? We are without any money, and we require to do other tasks which might not guarantee as much cash return as we would get from the cauliflower, which I would be able to plant on my farm. So for the next 12 days, I need to do other tasks that will guarantee me at least some form of return in money, so I will have something else to work around with, some sort of cash in case I would decide to go to Clint for an upgrade for a tool, go to Willie to purchase a better fishing rod, or upgrade any of the tools which I already talked about, or purchase something else at Pierre's store, like some cooking supplies or something. Now, here is where the crops like coffee, green bean starter, tomatoes, hot peppers, blueberries, cranberries, and the other bushes might come to work for you. Because if you think right now about an XY graph, we are talking about a investment which starts off with a horizontal line. However, what starts to happen is you will see almost like a heartbeat pattern manifest on the horizontal line, because every few days you're gonna get a small investment from the care and time you are investing into the crop itself. This is why I usually love to go blueberries, cranberries, coffee, whatever plant it is that produces over time and is not a single harvest item. Unfortunately, green beans I usually do just due to the fact that I have them for the community center bundle. Other than that, I do not like to deal with the green beans because even their artisanal version is not as valuable, for example, as the blueberries or cranberries. This is why I usually try to build my spring season around strawberries. Yes, it's true. It takes time for me to actually get the first strawberry harvest, especially due to the fact that if I do not plant correctly around the event which leads to me obtaining those seeds, which is the Egg Hunt Festival, well, then I can end up being just with few strawberry harvests, and basically I will be starved of money because I will not have the sufficient resources to work with. Also, strawberries are great as gift, and they are really great as an artisanal item. Sure, there are better options, but for the spring season, year one, you don't have that many options, considering the fact that it takes forever, as I said, things like the cauliflower to fully mature. So therefore, what are my options? I can invest heavily into the green bean starter, and of course I'm gonna get multiple harvests compared to the strawberries, which I will get maximum of 2 harvests in the first year. But I will not see such a high spike in the horizontal line each time I collect the green beans. This is why, actually, I've started thinking heavily about getting Coop as soon as possible based on the comments in the comment section. The thing is that if you initiate your Coop and you start off only with even those 4 chicks in the start, yes, it takes you a longer period of time to actually get to that initial spike, but you are not actually seeing a single spike as if. What actually happens for you is that instead of staying on the horizontal line, you raise it and you maintain a level which is then going up and down. However, you will never reach the bottom line ever again. You will be above due to the fact that once you have your 4 chickens, whatever you may call them, actually, I think I just did the dumbest thing on my other farm where I named my chicks A, B, C, D just because I didn't want to screw around with the random name generator. So I swear to God, I went with A, B, C, D, and with cows, I actually went capital A, small a, B, B, C, C, D, D. You get the point. I was really just trying to rush through it so to see what will happen if I get the cows and the chickens. Now, what happened was one major interesting factor or fact. I was able to maintain a certain level of constant income from the animals. Of course, you have the choice to keep the option, let's say if here would be the bottom line, this is the selling point where you would load up the 4 eggs constantly into the collection bin. There might be spikes. Spikes will appear due to the fact that you will be picking up from time to time as the friendship or relationship between you and your animals starts to increase. You will be picking up better quality small eggs, and then the large quality or large eggs will start to manifest, each of them at different selling price. And don't forget that you can actually go, I do believe, with a talent which allows you potentially to increase the selling price of the animal products as well. Hold on a second, let me confirm this with the wiki just in case. So let's see. If we take a look at some of the animals. So for example, if we think about a chicken which costs us 800 gold, if we get our basic egg, that is selling for 50 gold, large egg is selling for 95. And then you are able to increase these values. Of course, we have then milk from cows, which sells for 125 gold, large milk for 190, etc., etc. So there are some increases, but I want to make sure that actually I have the option to, if we go into the skill tree for farming, at level 5 we have the option to choose the rancher skill. So animal products are worth 20% more. This is great because we are raising the selling price of the eggs or milk. However, what I've always found out is that instead of just going and raising constantly the bar into a bit higher option for ourselves, it's usually much better if I turn the eggs and milk always into mayo and cheese, because these are artisanal items, and by choosing this option I am able to therefore get even better prices. But why am I talking about chickens now when till this point I've been talking about how much time it takes for you to receive return on, let's say, the cauliflower? Well, the thing is, you need to plan pretty damn well or do a really good research on how you want to manage your farm. Best example for this, which I can find if you are starting a brand new file, is if you consider the option of mixing tomatoes, hot peppers, and blueberries. Why am I saying this? Well, the reason is following. If I were to go to Wiki and look up tomato, look up hot pepper, and look up blueberry, I will find out certain things. So, for example, if I purchase hot pepper on the first day of summer from Pierre and I plant the crop, by Saturday of that week I will have my first harvest, and overall I will receive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 harvests of hot peppers throughout the entire summer season. This is if I would not actually utilize the speed grow. Okay? Now let's take a look at the tomatoes. Tomatoes take much longer for me to get return on my investment, due to the fact that if I were to pick up tomatoes, planted tomatoes on the 1st of summer, it will take me until the Friday of second week to get first harvest. So overall, I will receive 5 harvests till the end of the summer season. because after each harvest it takes you additional 3 days when the plant is recovering, and on the fourth day it will give you another harvest. So the window between each harvest compared to the hot pepper is worse, because hot pepper will take actually after each harvest 3 days to get to the other round of harvests. So if you pick up the hot peppers on Saturday, which is the 6th of summer, on the 9th of summer you have another harvest. So 2 days it takes for the plant to recover before it gives you another harvest. Blueberries are a bit trickier due to the fact that it actually takes them 2 full weeks to mature, and then you have 3 days of resting for the plant before it gives you another harvest. So this is why I usually have to go massively into the blueberries, because by the time I receive the harvest on the second week, too much time has passed and I had to do something like ton of fishing or ton of scavenging or mining or whatever else I was able to do just to get my hands on any sort of money. Now, here is the unfortunate thing. If you go with the skill where you raise the value of the animal products, you will miss out on the higher selling value of the crops, so you are missing out on the tiller talent in level 5, and then in level 10 you cannot choose either the artisan or the agriculturist. However, getting your crops to grow 10% faster is idiotic investment, especially considering the fact that by the time you reach level 10 farming, you should be able to get your hands also on the quality speed grow or better fertilizer. Because the deluxe speed grow, for example, can be obtained on you reaching level 8, which is the same time when you actually get your hands on the recipe for a keg. Okay? So, why is for me the option to go with the rancher perk and then later the coop master or shepherd perk less valuable, considering the fact that I will be able to maintain certain amount of cash flow or sales from these products less of an option? Well, it's hard to really explain, but especially due to the fact that I just discussed how many days it usually takes for the, for example, blueberries, tomatoes, and hot peppers to keep producing the harvests, right? And in the meantime, your cows or your chickens will keep giving you eggs or milk. One exception when it will not happen is if your silo is empty, you did not replace their food, and you do not interact with them. Therefore, their friendship is not increasing. They are annoyed because they do not have food, and well, what do you expect then, right? But I mean, I tend to care more about the animals at my farm than I do tend to care about the townspeople, because, of course, I totally forgot to give Haley her birthday flower, so kudos for me, right? The guy who keeps talking about how to potentially get a partner for the spring dance event, and here I go totally screw myself. Anyhow, The reason why I still consider actually investing more into the crops is due to the fact that if I, for example, go into the hot pepper, right? So if I purchase the seeds from Pierre, it will cost me 40 gold. If I purchase this from Jojo Mart, it will cost me 50 gold. If I would be idiotic enough to purchase this from the traveling cart, I can pay 100 to 1000 gold. And now that there is the option of the night market during the winter season, I can purchase it for the same price as from Pierre, so 40 gold. What I can do with the hot peppers is create a harvest from the 1st of spring. Then I will plant another batch on the 2nd, and then I will plant another batch on the 3rd. So now I am working with actually 3 separate crops, which will be producing for me small amounts of return on my investment compared to going super heavy into something like in year 1 cauliflower or something where I would get one massive spike and then have money to splurge on something. But I mean, as I keep talking and as I keep thinking about it, I still want to go with the coop. I want to see how it will affect my game style and gameplay, especially on this new map layout. That's due to the fact that if I decide to put the coops and barns into one of these segments, I will need to make damn sure that I will be able to keep going there and check on my animals to make sure they are doing well and that they are well taken care of. Unfortunately, as of yet, I am unable to purchase the coop because I require 4000 gold and my axe is still in the shop. The cool thing about 1.4 version is that actually I will receive a notification whenever Clint is done upgrading my tools. Before, you were unable to do this. You actually had to literally go to Clint's store or make sure you knew on what day you dropped off the item so that you would come back with, let's say, another stack of 5 copper bars or 5 iron bars or gold bars so that you can move into upgrading another tool. Of course, this is not so fluid, especially if we're talking about upgrading things like hoe or the watering can. This is due to the fact that I really need to start learning new phrases because this is due to a fact that has been said multiple times in a few seconds. Anyhow, the reason why, of course, this affects you is from the weather. If it rains, you don't have to bother with the watering. If it doesn't rain, you have to do the watering. If you do not water the crops, holy bejesus! Look at this! Okay, I'm taking a snapshot of this. This is the biggest harvest I have ever seen. What the frick? Now I feel like a total idiot walking around chasing down these salmon berries, yet I will proceed to do this, despite the fact that I will be not turning these into artisanal items, even if I interact later on with the bear from one of the secret notes. Look, here's one hidden, one extra. I should have freaking made note of how many I had before I started picking up the spring onions. Probably while I will be editing this footage, I will actually look up the number, and by doing so, I will be able to, who knows, maybe do a little math, because I'm pretty darn sure whatever the heck it was at the start of this video of me talking about the return of investment from your crops compared to the animals, it might be confusing as heck, especially by the way I was trying to say it or explain it or whatever the heck that mumbling and rumbling was. And I also apologize just due to the fact that I have a horrible microphone because I'm using a Corsair headset. But it was a really damn good purchase, and I did not even have to buy it on like Black Friday or something. The HS50, I can only recommend it. Just be careful about the earmuffs on the headphones, because on my previous set what happened was that the earmuffs actually as if rolled off the headphones, and I actually had to use rubber bands to hold them in their place, and it was really freaking uncomfortable when the rubber band was rubbing against my ear and I was trying to keep the headphones on for a longer period of time. But anyhow, that's enough for the talking about the potential headphone purchase for any of you. I'm not here to recommend electronics. For that, I would recommend different channels. Heck, maybe I will try to do something with computer parts one day when I will maybe talk about my new system, which I might build by the end of 2040 as things are going for me right now. But anyhow, the reason why I've been thinking about the... Yes, I'm going back to that topic. You're welcome. Reason why I've been thinking about getting the coupe is due to the fact that even if I would do the initial investment, ooh, seaweed, and after that I would be picking up even the small eggs. It will take me a time to get the mayonnaise machine. And what I might actually do instead of maintaining a certain level at which I can be by cashing in the paychecks from selling mayonnaise or the large or small eggs, or potentially have something for the animal bundle or the artisanal bundle, because I do believe mayonnaise should be able to be dropped in there, but I'm not sure right now. I'm gonna have to look that up in the editing of the footage and probably drop a picture of it on the screen somewhere around here. So anyhow, it's interesting, and I can understand why certain people might go for the coupe. You can potentially get your hands on the mayonnaise machine when you reach level 2 of farming. Honestly, if it takes you only 4 days to reach level 1 with 13 parsnips out of the 15 originals, which you were able to find in your home, so you did not even have to go to Pierre, honestly, to purchase more parsnips or something. It's awesome, because if you save up money, let's say the original 500 gold, you require only 100 gold in order to build the silo. Of course, you require 5 copper bars, 10 clay, and 100 stone, or how many. But I usually tend to build the silo preemptively before any buildings which contain animals, because even if I were to keep the baby chicks in the coop, I still want them to have access to food. I'm weird like that. I do understand it's a game, but what the hell. I had animals when I was small. I took better care of them than I took of myself, which is why probably I'm trying to catch up at gym right now, but that's a topic for another day. Anyhow, so what I usually tend to do is take care of them, and once they fully mature, I will go check up on them to make sure they are properly taken care of. So it's important to me, just due to the fact that taking care of these animals will be raising that original line from the horizontal base to a mid-range to a really high-end level. Because from the 1.3 version of the Stardew Valley, we were able to get our hands on iridium quality eggs, iridium quality milk, and we are talking both small milk and large milk, and we are talking iridium quality cheese and iridium quality mayonnaise. Why am I, however, talking about, for example, cows and chickens and not ducks and the goats, for example? Well, it's due to the fact that goats and ducks produce every other day. At least goats do. I tend to find ducks be more tricky to figure out, as also luck is the factor which plays in you potentially finding something like the duck egg on your farm. So if you have 10 unlucky days, or for example, I don't know, you forgot to feed the ducks or something, you are less likely to come across the duck feather. Plus, the duck feather cannot be used for anything that much amazing. Sure, you require it for the bundles in the community center, but other than that, not really. And the selling price, So it's better, therefore, to think about the goats, but still, there are actually bigger spikes just due to the fact that we are talking 2 days difference compared to cows. And I feel like if I would invest into 8 cows instead of 4 cows and 4 goats, if I would to keep, let's say, milk from cows from 1 week's harvest in a special chest just for comparison, with milk from goats in one chest from 1 week's harvests for comparison, the cows would end up as the winner just due to the fact that they produce every day for me. And I like consistency because based on that, I try to build my schedule inside of each day. And I just realized I'm gonna hate editing this video, because if I was able to pull off those graphs, which if I was, congrats to me. If not, well then, I do wonder what the hell will I do while editing this footage, because I really wanted to talk about this. Because I read the comments in the comment section, and I think, and each time I play this game, I try to tweak a thing or two to see how much of an improvement can I get. And I understand that it's 7:40 and I haven't done anything today. And I was able to actually go and maybe purchase something like a goddamn cauliflower seed, which I totally should have done, because it takes 12 days for them to fully mature. So if I don't do that on the next episode and plant those cauliflowers, I will not have cauliflowers to pick up by the end of the spring season. And the cauliflowers are a killer when it comes to leveling up your farming skill. So that is like the major point why I would still consider going for them. Anyhow, yeah, lots of topics covered, lots of rambling, but yeah, I will definitely try to now work towards either getting the harvests of, let's say, cauliflower, or working towards actually getting my hands on the coop. I might actually try to prioritize it compared to, let's say, getting my hands on better fishing rod. Why would I want to prioritize better fishing rod? Well, fishing rod, it depends. If I were to take the trout soup, have a super lucky day, and go visit one of those fishing spots that I know are really, really amazing for fish, I can come out of a single day doing nothing but fishing with lots of fish, and I can get a decent payout. And by doing so, I will be able to reach the fishing level 5, where I actually get the better selling price for fish. And the great thing about this game is that if you go into the summary of your day, you first get the notification about you leveling up. So let's say we are talking fish. I just loaded up 20 chops or 20 carps or 20 sardines into the collection bin over here. I have leveled up. What will happen is I will get the option to either have cheaper construction for crab pots or get 10% bump up on the selling point or the selling price for the fish. So the initial money which I would actually get is increased by you choosing the perk. So if you load up like 50 mayonnaise into the collection box and you are prompted to get level 10 farming, well, it depends. If you have not gone with the tiller and then you are lacking the option to go with the artisan, you will not get the 40% increase of the selling price. So, yeah, for any of you who tend to do coops and barns super early in your walkthrough, I especially want to know if you still go with the increased price of the artisanal items, or if you go for, let's say, a farm where you just do nothing but, I don't know, pigs, and you have, or sheep or something, and you pick one of those skills like the shepherd or coop master, where in coop master you befriend coop animals quicker and incubation time is cut in half. Or if you go with shepherd, you befriend barn animals quicker and sheep produce wool faster. But then again, if you are getting sheep, the only thing which you get out of them is wool. Wool is not produced every day, and wool has better selling price if it's turned into the cloth. And here's the kicker. Wool at its base price is 340 gold. Silver wool 425. Gold star 510. Iridium 680. But the base price for the cloth is 470. So you would need to come across each time with gold star quality wool, which I guarantee you will not, in order to beat just the base price of cloth. If you get the rancher perk, well, the base price of wool is raised from 340 to 408 gold. Silver star is 510. Gold star 612. Iridium 816. If you picked up the rancher perk or skill, now the selling price of cloth is 564. However, if you have gone with the artisan perk, the price for wool 658. So we are almost beating iridium quality wool at its selling price without getting the rancher profession. However, if we choose the rancher profession, if we are not picking up iridium quality wool every time we are losing money. And that is what this episode was most likely about. Trying to talk about money and how to best make money. Reason why you want money in this game and why you want to have something to work with is if you, for example, hate going into the mines because you have to plan around the luck, you have to prepare a ton of bombs or ladders to get deep within the mines to get decent enough collection of minerals and coal and the metals which you then smelt. Well, if you have decent amount of money to spend, you can skip this. You can go to Clint, purchase ton of ore, and you're done. You can spend your day then just making ton of smelters where you do one massive batch of ore or bars, then you turn it into few sprinklers if you need it, and then you just run around giving gifts to everyone. Because if you have money, you can go to Gus's tavern, purchase 10 spaghetti, and for next couple of weeks, you can keep giving Robin spaghetti because she loves spaghetti, and you're done. So this is why actually trying to find the proper balance between the harvest of the reoccurring crops, like for example hot peppers, tomatoes, etc., is a great thing. Also, what you need to consider is that I did not talk about stuff like the hops or the grape or ancient fruit. These are also great. However, ancient fruit is more of a long-term plan before it really starts to pay out. And therefore it's like much better for you to go crazy with the star fruit before. But once again, we are talking about long-term investment because star fruit, first of all, you need to finish off one of the rooms in the community center to fix the bus so you can go and see Sandy in the oasis. So that's one heavy and time bound investment or time consuming investment. So you will need to first deal with that because starfruit is never available to you at Pierre's. Also, you cannot even purchase starfruit seeds from the ships when they arrive during the winter season. I've also never came across so far in my playthroughs, or maybe I did but it was super rare, starfruit seed or just starfruit at the traveling cart. And even if I would, I bet you it would cost like couple thousand gold in order for me to get my hands on it. So yeah, finding the proper balance therefore for the crops alone is idiotic, which is why I usually like to have combination of both animals and both crops at my farm. It's just due to the fact that you need more space for the farming. Usually looks like I prioritize the crops themselves, and it usually takes me much longer time to get to coops and barns because I can rely upon the production from the crops compared to the production from the animals in certain cases. Like I said, if I think about something like ducks, goats, or heck, even rabbits, those are annoying. I love pigs. Honestly, I usually go for one barn just full of pigs, which means I need to equip it or upgrade it all the way to the deluxe version. And we all know that is crazy, stupid expensive, and usually I can cover these expenses by having big harvests of blueberries, cranberries, turning melons or pumpkins into wine or pumpkin juice. selling these huge amounts of artisanal items and doing this. Therefore, I would like to see in the comment section what was like the biggest farm or the biggest outcome of certain period of time you have potentially come across. I unfortunately was unable to publish the footage from version 1.3 where I have been saving up cheese, mayonnaise, and wine, and jam, and honey, and all sorts of other stuff from my farm for the end of the winter. And when I sold it, it almost broke the counter, but eventually it gave me the number, don't worry. I haven't seen someone load in so many items that it would actually break the game, although I do believe if you have one of those mods which gives you access to every item in the game, well then it's different. But I'm not doing speed runs or convenient runs here. I'm trying to do a long-term commitment to Stardew Valley 1.4.3, I believe, because apparently there have been few patches now released, or by the time this video is finished and published, because I'm gonna be hitting myself while I'll be editing this, especially due to all the heavy breathing I will have to be listening to, and you guys as well, and I do apologize for that, for all the previous episodes so far released on the channel. But yeah, do let me know if you ever done a farm where you would have just gone with, let's say, barns and build one shed where you were turning truffles from pigs into truffle oil, or one shed where you had just cheese makers and you were making ton of goat cheese, or if you were one of those people who turned the deluxe barn into the building where you store all your artisanal crafting supplies like the kegs and the preserve jars. And if you do that, then I still don't understand why in the world are you doing it. I do understand the fact that you have more room inside, but the investment that you had to do and the time commitment which you had to do to build a deluxe barn compared to building a simple shed, or not even building a shed or the deluxe barn and just utilizing one of the unused areas of the map, like the quarry or the lowest part of the woods, where I just came across the biggest freaking harvest of spring onions ever. Well, do let me know. And do let me know if you tend to prioritize animals over crops, if you tend to prioritize crab pots over fish. What is your game plan? What is your strategy? I'm not sure if YouTube allows you to put like a print screen to a farm, which would allow you to show what you are able to accomplish when it comes to certain layouts or something. Right now, the cool thing is that actually in the 1.4 update, you are able to take a snapshot of your farm to see what's the overall look of it. I was really hoping I would come across at least some damn copper today, because it's supposed to be the luckiest day, but I'm coming across Jack, and I really don't like that. But yeah, if you can leave potential link to what you've been up to since 1.4 has come out, I would love to know about it. I would love to know if you are trying the new Four Corners map and what you think about it. Because honestly, I am thinking heavily about changing up the potential plans that I had for my farm. Maybe I will not actually put the fish ponds into the corner where the big lake is located. Instead, what I might actually do is put it God damn it, you're gonna be annoying. Is actually put it in the first sector or corner of the map where I am located. And holy fudge, we just came across rice shoot. Huh, fun thing. And you know why? Because rice shoot is one of the new crops which I wanted to cover here on Your Professional Walkthroughs channel. And you know what's funny? As a reward for you to potentially surviving this, although I feel like right now some of you must have the reaction after watching The Ring, so you are all twisted from listening to me for God knows how long it's been now. And holy moly, I do hope that this footage has been recorded, otherwise I'm gonna throw a hissy fit. And I do realize that I just used the word hissy fit, but whatever, it's my channel. If this footage has not been recorded, and there's gonna be a blood to be spilled. Now, I'm gonna rush off to bed, but we have rice shoot. It takes 8 days for rice to fully mature. And there is a cool trick about cultivating rice. We all know that rice is grown in the rice paddies and it's submerged in the water. So what the developer made is that if you put like a spot over here, which is close to the water, it will remain as if submerged. So let's say 2 tiles or 2 rows from this small pond over here, if I were to keep only for rice, I do not even have to water the damn thing. It will be done when it will be done. So only thing I need to do, water the other crops, in 8 days, pick up this crop, I am done. Which makes me think it's a shame you are unable to do one more thing. And that is do something like, for example, create a small hose in your farm. So let's say this over here, I would be able to dig out and put water in it, so that it would maintain moisture for the surrounding fields. You know, some sort of ancient watering system. Heck, it was used by the Egyptians, why wouldn't I be able to utilize it in Stardew Valley? But anyhow, that will be most likely it for this episode, finally, for some of you. Yay, you have survived! Thank you for watching. I do realize this is a bit out there, and it's not as much conventional as usually my episodes tend to be, but I've been thinking about this topic for a few days now, and I wanted to make sure that I will record it so that I will have then time to edit this footage properly. Hopefully I've been able to pull off some of those graphs. And just yeah, thank you for watching. Check out the channel. Leave a like, maybe subscribe if you like what I do here and you have other people who are passionate about Stardew Valley. Maybe try to recommend the channel to them. I will not promise any miracles, but I will definitely try to publish at least few episodes each week, because right now I'm getting most response on my channel for Stardew Valley. And yeah, I will see how this thing turns out. Hopefully my laptop will not burn down by the time it's done rendering the footage for this footage. And yeah, I wish you all the best. I appreciate your patience with me. Hopefully someone understood what in the world was I talking about for the past hour and a half. And hopefully I will see you on the next upload here on Your Professional Walkthroughs channel. Bye bye.